Hi, my name's Starsky and welcome to From the Studio on Clubbing TV. In this episode, we're going to take a look at Pittsburgh Modular's new Taiga Keyz. And some of you might recognise this because it's not a brand new synth to the market, it's a development of this. And this is the original Taiga. It's a Euro rack format, semi-modular, and I demoed this in an episode just over a year ago and really like it. And they've made it bigger, they've put keys on it, and there's a couple of little extra functions here and there. But if you look at the size of it compared to this one, it's absolutely massive, and it's a welcome thing actually. I'd never really noticed because you get used to using these Euro rack things, you know, and you're in there and you're tweaking away. But once you get something that's like this on a massive scale, it just becomes much more fun to play. So yeah, it's the same thing. We've got 3 oscillators, a mixer, a filter, 2 envelopes, this dynamics processor, and we've got a little bucket brigade delay at the end. But the most obvious addition we've got is this on the end. It comes with this. You take this off and you've got 3 slots in there. There's 3 power slots for 3 different Eurorack units. It's 24 HP, if that means anything to you. But it just means that if there's something that's missing on the synth itself, you can bring it in, and it's a genius little idea. So here's a track I made that I could only do if I had an extra little module in it. And the reason for there being so many cables and patching across the top in there is that I've split oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 and 3 into different routes. So oscillator 1 is going through this little dynamics processor, and oscillators 2 and 3 are both going through the main filter, and they're split in this mixer. It's quite a complex patch. Take a look at my Starsky Car YouTube channel if you want a full breakdown of it. But essentially I'm splitting it into almost like 2 separate synths, and in order to do that I needed this little extra unit here. You can do it without it. It's not quite as slick, it doesn't quite sound so good and not quite as controllable. But I made that patch really just to show how much you could increase the scope and the depth of this just with a couple of extra little units on the end. And I've also put in here this little effect unit from Qubit called a Mojave, and that's a bit like a delay. It's a granular delay, so it does lots of extra things that the delay on this can't do. that's a sort of overview of, wow, it does loads of different things. Let's take a look at what we've got here, shall we, and just go over really briefly all the different functions. The main selling point on this is that it's got two types of synthesis in it. There's East Coast and there's West Coast. Well, that's what they're called. One was developed by Moog, or famous for being developed by Moog, and it's what we generally consider to be synthesis. And that's using a filter to cut out all the harmonics that you get in a tone. Bog standard, it's what everyone uses. To take off a couple of the oscillators. It's those synth tones that we're used to hearing all over the place. But this also has West Coast style, and that's bootleg, and that's really strange, strange modular synthesis that doesn't necessarily use as a filter, but changes the harmonics in the wave itself to change things up. And what do I mean by that? Well, on this we have it. So let's just open the filter. And there the wave shape's folding in on itself to create different harmonics. So you change the harmonics using the wave shape, not using the filter. So if we go to something like a sine wave, to make a bass line out of that, we do this automatically. So let's do that, and we'll do it using a patch cable. We'll use this envelope here, that's the filter envelope, ADSR1. We'll take that out and we'll put that into the input of the shape CV for this shape here, which is there. And then we'll change the amount. So we're doing a similar thing to filtering, but we're doing it in a different way. We're getting different harmonics. We're getting sounds that we wouldn't get from your standard sort of analog subtractive synth. We're getting lots more harmonics, lots more dirt, lots more interesting tones perhaps. And this gets even more fun when you start modulating that at audio rates or with one of the LFOs. So if I take this out, it's already pre-patched to LFO2. Make that really fast. And then of course with this we can use the filter as well. And I'm just getting loads of mad, dirty, disgusting, growly tones without really trying. And that's the real joy of this synth. That whole intro track was made doing stuff like that. Two tones, one of them just the bass line that's got a lot of this sort of modulation in it. And the last thing I want to really show here is this dynamics processor here. It's a bit weird if you're used to normal synths. It was weird to me when I first started playing with it. Again, it's what they used on the West Coast, is that right? The West Coast, sort of California. And it's a bit like a VCA or an amplifier and the filter in one. So the filter closes, the quieter the sound gets. So at the minute, we've just got it in VCA mode. So it just acts like a normal amplifier. It's just listening to the control from this. So that's like any other synth you're used to, but if we put it into this mode here, so dynamics mode, what we're listening to there is the filter from this, not from this. This filter is completely open. So as the sound gets quieter, the filter closes. If I whack up the resonance on this, it'd be more obvious. Sounds like a filter, because it is. But that's this, not this. Got this little response curve here, so we can make it snappier. And that's what I was doing with the second track we played on this, where I had one hand playing the chords and the other hand playing the lead. The lead, the little sort of arpeggio, was played using this, and the rest of it was played using the normal filter. But this is meant to be a little bit more of a natural pluck sound. But it just gives another option, really. So the big yellow knob lets the low frequencies through. As you turn it up, more of the high frequencies come through. So effectively that response is twisting this quickly, but reacting to the level of the sound that's coming in. And this can actually sound like it's got a sustain or a release on it when you're doing something with, say, an arpeggio. So let's stick an arpeggiator on. Put on hold. Let's open this. Let's add another oscillator. Another one. Bit of delay. Slow it down a bit. There's loads of ways of shaping those harmonics and then shaping the tones, from the low pass gate to the standard filter to the shape controls on the actual oscillators themselves. And I didn't mention that the filter's got a band pass, a high pass, a notch, band pass and high pass and notch in a random mode. So lots more to look into. As I say, do take a look at my Starsky Car YouTube channel if you want to know more about it. But yeah, what are my overall thoughts? I think you know what I'm going to say. Well, I can't recommend this highly enough. It's not cheap. I think it's about £1,200, £1,100, something like that. But it's just such a source of constant inspiration. If you like playing keyboards and you like making sounds, this has got it all. It's a really beautiful sounding and well made, well designed, well thought through bit of kit. The fact that you can just take something that's really subtle, lovely and gentle and then turn it into a howling, growling monster within a couple of twists of a couple of knobs is something to behold, and it's really, really good fun. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it's worth every penny. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, don't forget you can catch it whenever you like on our Clubbing TV official YouTube channel on the From the Studio playlist. And if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments and I will see what I can do to answer them. And also do take a look at my Starsky Car YouTube channel on this as well. I've got a big, long, deep dive, about 40 minutes long, going into every single function. If you're thinking of getting one and you want to know how it all works. Anyway, I'll see you in the next episode of From the Studio.